Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a topic that's, well, it's not just coming soon. It's already here and changing things fast. Artificial intelligence. We want to go beyond seeing AI as just, a smart tool. Our mission today is really to look at AI as this thing that learns by itself, that's evolving super quickly, and to ask, what does intelligence even mean when a machine starts teaching itself things we can barely get our heads around? We've pulled from some really insightful sources for this, and they show some fascinating and sometimes, yeah, pretty unsettling truths about where AI is going.
That's absolutely right. It feels like a really critical moment to try and understand these shifts. We're going to sort of set the stage looking at everything from the immediate risks in society, like how misinformation spreads, all the way to those bigger, maybe long-term existential questions AI brings up. And, while the sources we're digging into definitely highlight challenges, it's always worth remembering AI is, well, it's a powerful tool, a double-edged sword. This whole exploration, I think, will challenge how we think about control, about truth, and about intelligence itself.
Okay, right. Let's start unpacking that. Just think about your average day, maybe from the moment you wake up. So much of the information you see, your news feed, social media, even like music recommendations, it's curated by machines. It's this constant stream, often invisible, that's kind of shaping our reality.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, maybe a bit unsettling too, is that these systems, especially on social media, they're not just neutral platforms showing you stuff. They are actually engineered very carefully to influence human behavior, mostly for profit. And often we don't even consciously realize it's happening. The key thing isn't just that AI manipulates, it's how pervasive it is, how sophisticated but unseen it is. It's fundamentally changing the whole idea of free will in our daily digital lives. It's like a quiet, constant erosion of our agency.
Wow. And as if that wasn't enough to think about, now we have things like deepfakes and all this other AI-generated content. These aren't just silly filters anymore, are they? They feel like an immediate, direct threat to the whole concept of truth. I mean, if you can just make reality up, what does that do to what we believe?
Precisely. And the most immediate worry, the one people talk about a lot, is how it could be used politically.
Yeah.
Just imagine the kind of impact this stuff could have on future elections, creating stories, visuals,
Yeah.
completely fake, but looking totally real. It really makes you wonder, how will we ever know what's genuine?
So, okay, AI is already curating our info without us really knowing. What happens when it starts making that information, even faking it? This idea of an end of truth, is that too dramatic, or is it kind of where we're heading?
It sounds dramatic, I know, but in principle,
Yeah.
it's already here. This isn't science fiction. You have platforms like Stability.ai, Stable Diffusion. They're making incredibly realistic human images right now in milliseconds. The really deep insight here isn't just about fake pictures. It's the speed and the scale of this AI-generated reality. You're going to make the whole idea of visual proof, verifiable evidence, almost obsolete pretty soon. It shifts the burden of proving truth in ways we haven't seen before, and this tech will definitely move into video. Soon you'll have AI video that you just can't tell apart from real footage.
Right. So what does all that mean for us then? It's got to be bigger than just politics. Think about beauty standards being warped by filters that look real but aren't based on any actual person. Or education, what happens when AI can generate perfect answers? Does that change how we learn or value critical thinking and public debate? If it can be flooded with synthetic data, fake narratives, how do you have a real conversation? What does this do to our shared sense of reality?
It means we are absolutely in uncharted territory. Our perceptions are increasingly shaped by an intelligence we don't fully grasp.
Okay, so we've touched on the immediate, kind of unsettling impacts, but to really get where this is going, we need to look at how AI is doing this. Which brings us to its most powerful ability, self-learning. This isn't like old school programming where humans write every single instruction. We're talking about AI's emergent properties, skills, knowledge that AI develops all by itself without us telling it how.
Yeah, the classic example here is AlphaGo. So first it studied thousands of human games of Go, learned from them, and eventually beat the world champion. That was huge. But then came AlphaGo Zero. This version didn't look at any human games, none at all. It taught itself completely just by playing games against itself. Over and over.
And the timeline on that was just staggering, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Within just 3 days, AlphaGo Zero was better than the original AlphaGo. And then, 21 days later, it beat AlphaGo Masters 1,000 games to 0.
1,000 to 0. Yeah.
It really makes you think, what else is AI learning on its own that we don't even know about yet? That feels genuinely unsettling.
It is, and this huge leap forward, it introduced strategies humans had never even thought of. There was one moment in particular, Move 37, that just baffled all the experts. It was this incredibly creative, intuitive play. It showed a strategic thinking way beyond what human Go masters had ever developed. It was such a clear sign of intelligence just
Yeah.
emerging in ways we didn't program, a kind of creativity even the best human players couldn't match.
And we've seen other weird examples of this emergent stuff too, right? Like Google's AI is suddenly learning Bengali, even though nobody gave it Bengali data, or ChatGPT picking up skills in research chemistry when it wasn't programmed for chemistry. These aren't just party tricks. They show AI developing knowledge we didn't put there. What are the implications when a system starts knowing things we never intended it to know?
So yeah, connecting the dots. These emergent properties are skills that AI just gains spontaneously. We didn't plan them, we don't fully understand how they developed, or even what they're fully capable of. And this brings up that huge question of what people call the control problem.
Hmm.
How do you possibly control something that's vastly smarter than you? Especially when its abilities are popping up in unpredictable ways.
Yeah, and the current situation sounds quite worrying. My first reaction is always, well, surely we can build in safety features. But the sources seem to suggest that most AI developers right now, they just don't prioritize embedding really robust safety controls. Is that right?
It seems that way often, yeah.
It's more about getting the system working, making it powerful, not necessarily about putting strong guardrails around these unpredictable emergent skills.
You'd think safety would be paramount, wouldn't you?
Right.
But even if we did implement really strong controls, how effective could they really be against a system potentially billions of times smarter than us? It really forces you to consider the sheer scale of intelligence we might be dealing with.
The projections for intelligence growth are, well, they're alarming. We know ChatGPT 4 is roughly 10 times smarter than 3.5 on some tasks. If that kind of progress continues, in just, what, 1.5 to 2 years, AI could hit a cognitive level, like an IQ of 1500. Can you even put that in perspective? What does an IQ of 1500 mean in practical terms?
It's hard to wrap your head around. An IQ of 1500, think of it less like a test score and more like a mind that could potentially solve, say, every global energy crisis, cure every disease, design technologies we can't even imagine, maybe all at the same time. That's the kind of practical scale of intelligence we might be looking at. And then, looking further out, say by 2045, some projections suggest AI could be 1 billion times smarter than humans.
Yeah.
The analogy used is, it's like trying to explain quantum physics to a fly. The gap is just incomprehensibly vast.
Which leads us to maybe the toughest pill to swallow. This deep-seated human belief that we can actually control an intelligence like that. It feels almost like an inherent human bias, doesn't it? This need to believe we're ultimately in charge.
Yeah.
How does that belief hold up against these kinds of projections?
It's a very sobering thought. I mean, look at the gap between, say, Einstein's intellect and an average person's. It's already huge. Now imagine an AI that could soon be 100 times smarter than Einstein.
Right.
And then, like you said, potentially 1 billion times smarter than any human ever. The idea of us controlling that, it starts to seem almost quaint. It's not necessarily about AI being malicious. It could just be about a difference in capability and understanding that's too massive.
Yeah.
Like, we don't control the weather, right? Not because it's evil, but because we just don't have that kind of power or understanding.
It certainly does raise those huge existential questions about our own agency, our control over the future, and ultimately maybe even our survival in a world with hyper-intelligent systems. It brings us right back to that first question. What does intelligence truly mean, and what might our purpose become?
So let's try to pull together the core takeaways from this deep dive. First, AI isn't just another tool. It's a self-learning system, evolving way faster than we humans can adapt, and it keeps surprising us with abilities we didn't program. Second, the big societal shifts. They're already happening. Our idea of truth, education systems, social values, they're being reshaped by machine-generated realities, often without us fully realizing it. Third, these emergent abilities make AI fundamentally unpredictable, potentially uncontrollable, which raises serious doubts about our ability to steer its development safely. And finally, within decades, maybe sooner, AI could surpass human intelligence by such a massive margin that our ability to manage it or even understand it effectively drops to zero. And maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. If AI's intelligence keeps growing like this, unchecked, and our ability to understand or control it really does go to zero, what then becomes the definition of human purpose? What does our agency even mean in that kind of world? What new questions might we be forced to ask about ourselves?
That is definitely a powerful question to sit with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really encourage you to reflect on these implications, maybe explore a bit further on your own.